Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something that's been on my mind, and frankly on my research agenda for the past 5 years. I've been on this incredible journey, tracking the paths of 100 entrepreneurs, from their early struggles to their major breakthroughs. After tracking 100 entrepreneurs for 5 years, I discovered something shocking. 93% of common business advice is complete bullshit. The stuff you read in headlines, the quick tips, the guaranteed success formulas, most of it is noise, distraction, or just plain wrong. So what about the other 7%? That's where the magic happens. That tiny sliver of wisdom, that often unspoken truth, is what actually built these $17 million businesses I observed. These aren't just theories. These are the real-world, in-the-trenches strategies that work when the cameras are off, when no one's watching, and when the pressure is on. It's not about flashy tactics. It's about fundamental principles that, once understood and applied, can change everything for your business and your life. I'm so excited to pull back the curtain and share these insights with you today. We're going to cut through the clutter and get to the heart of what truly moves the needle. Forget the fluff, forget the get-rich-quick nonsense. If you're ready to learn what actually works, what the most successful entrepreneurs do differently, and how you can apply these lessons to your own journey, then you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with a concept that might make some of you a little uncomfortable, especially if you're a perfectionist like, well, many of us are. It's what I call the 70% rule. Through my 5 years of observation, one of the most glaring differences between those who soared and those who stalled was their approach to launching. The most successful entrepreneurs, the ones who built those incredible 7-figure businesses, didn't wait for everything to be absolutely perfect. They didn't spend endless months or even years tweaking every tiny detail until it was flawless. Instead, they launched when things were about 70% ready. Think about that, 70%, not 100%, not even 90%. This might sound counterintuitive, right? We're often taught that excellence is key, that we should polish and refine until our offering is impeccable. And while quality is undeniably important, the pursuit of perfection often becomes a convenient and sometimes subconscious excuse for procrastination. It's a fear of judgment, a fear of failure, dressed up as high standards. The entrepreneurs who got ahead understood that momentum is far more valuable than a flawless but delayed entry into the market. They knew that getting their product or service out there, even if it wasn't entirely finished, was the fastest way to get real-world feedback, iterate, and improve. Imagine 2 entrepreneurs. One spends a year perfecting their online course, agonizing over every font, every video edit, every single word in their workbook. The other creates a solid, valuable course that's about 70% of their ultimate vision and launches it in 3 months. While the first entrepreneur is still stuck in the refinement loop, the second is already getting sales, interacting with students, learning what works and what doesn't, and using that income and feedback to make their course even better. They're building a community, establishing their presence, and gaining invaluable experience. The perfect course, when it finally launches, might find the market has already moved on or a competitor has captured the audience. The 70% rule isn't about putting out sloppy work or cutting corners on quality. It's about recognizing that done is often better than perfect. It's about understanding that your initial launch is just the beginning, not the final destination. The crucial insights, the real learning, and the most significant improvements come you launch from interacting with actual customers and responding to their needs. Waiting for that elusive 100% often means waiting forever. And in the fast-paced world of business, forever is a luxury no one can afford. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you holding back, waiting for perfection? What project, idea, or launch have you been delaying because it's not quite right yet? Could you apply the 70% rule? Could you get it to a point where it's good, valuable, and functional, and then hit go? The successful entrepreneurs I studied embraced imperfection as a stepping stone to innovation and market leadership. They chose action over analysis paralysis, and that, my friends, made all the difference. Now let's talk about a skill that surprisingly turned out to be a massive differentiator for the top earners in my study. When we think about successful entrepreneurs, we often imagine them as the absolute masters of their craft. The best coder, the most brilliant designer, the most gifted writer. And while being good at what you do is certainly important, it wasn't the primary skill that correlated with hitting those 7-figure milestones. The hidden skill, the one that truly separated the high flyers, was delegation. Yes, the ability to effectively delegate tasks and responsibilities. This might seem a bit anticlimactic, doesn't it? It's not as glamorous as visionary genius or unparalleled talent. But think about it, there are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how skilled or efficient you are still just one person. The entrepreneurs who struggled to scale, even if they were incredibly talented, often remained bottlenecks in their own businesses. They believed, consciously or subconsciously, that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. This mindset, while understandable, is a major growth inhibitor. They ended up drowning in operational tasks, unable to focus on the high-level strategic work that truly drives a business forward. The top earners, on the other hand, understood the power of leverage. They weren't necessarily the best at every single task within their company, but they were exceptional at identifying their own core strengths, their zone of genius, and then finding talented people to handle everything else. They mastered the art of hiring, training, and trusting others. This wasn't about abdicating responsibility. It was about strategically distributing it. They built teams, whether in-house employees, freelancers, or contractors, who could execute effectively, freeing them up to focus on vision, strategy, innovation, and key relationships. Consider the difference. One entrepreneur spends hours each week on customer service emails, social media scheduling, bookkeeping, and minor website updates, tasks that are essential but don't directly leverage their unique expertise. Another entrepreneur with the same core business idea delegates these tasks to a virtual assistant or a small team. This second entrepreneur now has those hours back to develop new products, forge strategic partnerships, or work on their long-term vision for the company. It's not just about time, it's about energy and focus. When you're not bogged down in the minutia, you have the mental space to think bigger. Learning to delegate effectively is a skill in itself. It requires clear communication, setting expectations, providing the right resources, and then trusting your team to deliver. It also means letting go of control, which can be incredibly difficult for passionate founders. But the entrepreneurs who embraced delegation didn't just build businesses, they built sustainable systems. They created organizations that could grow beyond their personal capacity. So take an honest look at your workload. What tasks are you currently doing that someone else could do just as well, if not better? What could you delegate to free yourself up for true growth activities? This hidden skill is often the key to unlocking exponential progress. This next finding really cuts through a lot of the noise we hear about how to grow a business, especially online. When I analyzed how the fastest growing companies, those that hit the $1 million revenue mark most quickly, were spending their time, a clear pattern emerged. It wasn't about being everywhere all at once. It wasn't about mastering every new social media platform or constantly chasing algorithm changes. Instead, the fastest to $1 million spent significantly less time on scattered social media efforts and more, much more, on one or two highly leveraged activities. This focused approach was a game changer. What do I mean by leveraged activities? These are actions where a single input can generate a disproportionately large output. For the entrepreneurs in my study, these often included things like building and nurturing a responsive email list or forging strategic partnerships and joint ventures. Think about it. An email list is an asset you own. You're not at the mercy of a platform's algorithm changing overnight and tanking your reach. You have a direct line of communication with people who have explicitly said they want to hear from you. This is an incredibly powerful tool for building relationships, providing value, and yes, driving sales. Similarly, strategic partnerships allow you to tap into existing audiences and gain credibility by association. One well-chosen partnership can bring in more new customers and generate more revenue than months of scattered, low-engagement social media posting. The entrepreneurs who understood this weren't trying to be Instagram stars, TikTok famous, and LinkedIn gurus all at the same time, unless those platforms directly served a highly leveraged strategy. They picked their battles. They identified the one or two channels or activities that would give them the biggest bang for their buck, their time, and their energy, and they went deep on those. This is in stark contrast to the common advice that tells you to be omnipresent. While visibility is important, unfocused omnipresence can lead to burnout and diluted results. The entrepreneurs who tried to do everything often ended up doing nothing particularly well. Their time and resources were spread too thin. The million-dollar earners, however, were masters of prioritization. They understood the 80-20 principle, that roughly 80% of your results will come from 20% of your efforts. Their genius was in identifying that critical 20% and dedicating the majority of their focus there. So I encourage you to evaluate where your time and energy are currently going. Are you caught in the trap of trying to be everywhere, doing everything, because you feel like you be? Or are you strategically focusing on the activities that have the highest potential for leverage in your specific business? It might be email marketing. It might be affiliate partnerships. It might be creating incredible cornerstone content that attracts organic traffic for years. Whatever it is, find your high leverage activities and double down on them. That's where the real sustainable growth lies, not in chasing every fleeting trend. Our final key insight, and arguably one of the most profound, revolves around mindset. Specifically, it's about where successful entrepreneurs focus their attention. What I observed was a stark difference. The entrepreneurs who ultimately struggled or failed often became obsessed with their competition. They were constantly looking over their shoulders, comparing their progress, worrying about what others were doing, how they were pricing, what features they were launching. Their energy was directed outwards, towards their rivals, in a reactive and often fearful way. This constant comparison often led to imitation rather than innovation. On the flip side, the winners, the ones who built those thriving million-dollar businesses, had a completely different obsession. They were obsessed with their unique audience and, more specifically, their audience's unmet needs. Their focus was laser-sharp on understanding their ideal customer, their pains, their desires, their frustrations, their aspirations. They weren't trying to be a slightly better version of their competitor. They were striving to be the solution for a specific group of people by deeply understanding and addressing what those people truly wanted and weren't getting elsewhere. This customer-centric approach fueled everything they did. It informed their product development, their marketing messages, their customer service. Every touchpoint was designed with the explicit goal of serving their audience in a unique and valuable way. Instead of asking, how can I beat X competitor? They asked, how can I create an unparalleled experience for people? What problem can I solve for them that no one else is solving as well, or at all? This shift in focus from competitor to customer is subtle, but incredibly powerful. It moves you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. When you're focused on your competition, you're playing their game. You're often reacting to their moves, trying to catch up, or one-up them on features that your audience might not even care about. But when you're obsessed with your audience's unmet needs, you're creating your game. You're innovating from a place of deep empathy and understanding. This allows you to carve out a unique space in the market, to build a loyal following, and to create offerings that resonate so deeply that price becomes less of an issue. Your customers feel seen, heard, and understood, and that creates a powerful bond. So I urge you to consider where your primary focus lies. Are you spending more time analyzing competitor websites than you are talking to your actual customers or potential customers? Are your business decisions driven by what others are doing or by a genuine desire to solve a specific problem for a specific group of people? Make the shift. Become a detective for your audience's unmet needs. Survey them, interview them, listen to their language, observe their behavior. The more you understand them, the less your competition will matter because you'll be creating something truly distinct and deeply valuable. That's the path to not just success, but significance. So there you have it, the core principles that emerged from 5 years of tracking 100 entrepreneurs. We've talked about the 70% rule, the hidden power of delegation, focusing on revenue-generating activities over scattered efforts, and the critical mindset shift from competition to customer obsession. 5 years, 100 entrepreneurs. One lesson: the winners didn't have better ideas, they had better timing. They acted at this exact moment, when others waited. They didn't wait for permission or for conditions to be perfect. They took imperfect action, consistently. These insights aren't just interesting theories, they are actionable strategies that have been proven in the real world, by real people building real, impactful businesses. You now hold what took them years, and in many cases a lot of trial and error to learn. The knowledge is here, the path has been illuminated. The only question left, the one that truly matters now, is this. Will today be another maybe later, or your day one? Will you take this information and let it marinate, or will you choose one thing, just one, and start implementing it today? The opportunity to create something meaningful, to build the business and life you dream of, is right in front of you. Don't let the pursuit of perfection, the fear of delegation, the allure of busy work, or the distraction of competition hold you back any longer. Choose progress. Choose action. Thank you so much for joining me today.